Are all USB-C cables created equally? That's what we're going to get to in this video right here. And for today, Silkland, they have provided their new Thunderbolt 5 cable for me to actually do this review on. So I will be reviewing and going through the difference between different USB-C cables and what they're intended for, because they might not all be created equal, or are they? So it's no surprise, especially here in 2025, that when you go buy a new cell phone, say like the S24 Ultra, S25, the new Apple 16 Max, or whatever it is, everything's coming now with a USB connection on the bottom of it. That's what we get. Everything's going USB-C because the data transfer is a lot better on those, and they can get a lot more through it. Well, what's also not surprising is most phone companies now, they don't provide a cable no more. So everybody's going on Amazon and they're buying a cable. So you got a cable like this one right here. It's a USB-C to USB-A. So this is able to go into your phone. And then, of course, this is universal for pretty much all computers out there. They all have a USB on it. A lot of our newer computers, even I got a newer laptop right here, there's only one of these USB A's, and then there's multiple USB C's because a lot of them are going USB C now. Then you got, other just regular USB C to USB C, like this one I have right here. And people are like, oh, look, it's orange, it's color. I can do this, I can do that. So they'll go buy it, right? And then you got something like this one right here. This is actually a USB 3 right here. And then you have the new Silkland Thunderbolt 5. Once again, Silkland did provide this for me to do a review on it. My thoughts are my thoughts alone. I have a problem with cables. I actually have a problem with quite a few things. I have a problem with cameras. I have a problem with microphones. But one of the biggest things is anytime anybody needs a cable, they come down to my house. So let's go ahead and open up this Silkland cable. I think that this is 3 foot, if I'm not mistaken. It's 1 meter. So yeah. So it's right at this point in time, the Thunderbolt 4 and 5, unless you're willing to spend the money, these are pretty short. So just expect that whenever you're buying any of these cables. So again, that is only a 3 foot cable. The braiding feels real nice on it. I do like the way it feels. A lot of cables, they want to go back to their normal position in that the round up position from the packaging. This one here, you can actually get it nice and straight so far. Again, it's just USB-C to USB-C right here. See if there's any markings on it. It says Silkland, and it has a 5 on it. So there we go. Let's see, get it in there. So it got a 5 right there. And on the other side, it says Silkland, meaning the 5, meaning Thunderbolt 5. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to go through some of these and what they are. So I pull up this chart right here. It doesn't show USB 1 because USB 1 doesn't really apply to pretty much anybody anymore. I mean, unless they're literally living in like year 2000. But anyways, USB 3, if you notice, it's highlighted gray. So is the USB 4, and then we go over to the Thunderbolts. So they're saying that the USB 3 is 5 gigabit, and then you got 10 and 20 possibilities it can go to. Same thing with USB 4. You got 20 gigabits that it will do transfer rate, optional 40, 80, and 120. Then you go over to your Thunderbolts. So your Thunderbolt 3 and 4 is supposed to do nothing but 40 gigs. So anytime you plug that cable into your device, you should be able to get 40 gigabits of transfer. So if you were able to put that information onto that device at 40 gigabits, it will transfer to the next device. If that new device is capable of accepting that 40 gigabit input, then you're able to get it all the way through. So then we have Thunderbolt 5, which now allows 80 gigabits going through. So it can go up to 120, but remember, it looks like right here, required. Bandwidth boost provides 50% more dynamic bandwidth. So it can boost up to 120 gigabits per second. That is just insane transfer speeds right there. So now with Thunderbolt, you also get image as well out of it. So for instance, me recording right now on my camera, I have it hooked up to a capture card. My capture card has a USB-C. If I just took this USB-C right here and I connected it to my USB-A, I'm only going to get 1080p out of my cable. But I know my capture card's 4K, right? So now I need to make sure that I get a cable that is 4K compliant. Well, I went and got this cable here. This one's 240 watts. So when I ordered this, I'm like, okay, well, it allows that higher 240 watts to go through this. So it's going to allow my video to go through. That's not the case. You have to make sure you have something that's capable of putting video through as well. So that's where you start getting things like the Thunderbolt, because Thunderbolt allows that to go through. Now, if I just wanted a fast charge for my S25 Ultra, I already had the fast charge block, the 65-watt block. I can plug this in there. I can get all the way up to 240 watts through this cable right here. So I have my ultra fast charging needs for my cell phone, laptop. So I have a laptop that's a USB-C charger. So this right here will charge the laptop and my phones at that ultra fast, but trying to put image through. So even this cable, USB-C to USB-C, I plug it into my Thunderbolt on my motherboard, and then I plug it into my capture card. It still only allows 1080p. Well, you have to go into the Thunderbolt side of cables, which is where Silkland does a heck of a job. So I have a couple of their other Thunderbolt 4 cables. So this one here is their new Thunderbolt 5. I rely heavily on a lot of 4K videos, and what I bring out here is all 4K. So they're huge files. So in order to transfer from one to another, I need that speed. So not only do I need the speed though, something like this for my capture card, I also need to be able to get video through it. So these are supposed to get up to 144 frames per second through this cable versus an HDMI or display cable. Look how much smaller that is compared to each other. Okay, so when you go from like a Thunderbolt 4 to Thunderbolt 5, there's a few differences as well on these right here. So not all Thunderbolts are created equal. You got Thunderbolt 3, 4, and 5. 1 and 2, just they're kind of obsolete at this point in time. Some people might still use it and might comment down below and say that they're not obsolete. For most people and what people are doing today, they're obsolete. So now here's a chart for Thunderbolt 4 versus Thunderbolt 5. So Thunderbolt 4, you're allowed two 4K monitors versus multiple 8K for creators. Your refresh rate for two of them is 60 hertz, 60 frames per second. But on one of them, most Thunderbolts, you should be able to get 120 out of your Thunderbolt. Or your Thunderbolt 4. Thunderbolt 5, though, you're able to get 4K 144, three of them at one time, or 8K, and even 1080p up to 540 frames for gamers. You know, that's a big thing right there. 2 times the bandwidth for external SSDs. All right, this one connects a little differently. It's a different type of cable. But if you have an external drive that has a USB-C on it, go ahead and connect that Thunderbolt, and you should be able to pass through the data a lot faster than you would with just your normal cable that came with it. And it also depends on the circuit board on your external drive. So again, like I was just saying, it's going to depend on how much data or what you're doing for it. You get better flexibility for better use. So you can use it for more things. It is backwards compatible. You can connect it pretty much to any device that there is. And then a single cable for more notebooks. So again, like I was saying just a second ago, I have a laptop and mine is a USB charged laptop, the USB-C charge, instead of just a normal charging on it. So on the Thunderbolt 4, you have a second cable for charging gamers, creator PCs, and workstations. So basically the breakdown is for video, if you're grabbing this cable for video, this is what you're to expect from a Thunderbolt 5 cable versus a Thunderbolt 4 cable. Now saying that, again, like I said, whenever I unbox it, you only get 3 foot here. So like me, I'm going to have to reroute my capture card and I'm going to move it a little bit closer to the PC instead of just underneath my camera where it's at right now if I'm wanting to use this cable right here. But as of right now, being a newer cable, they can get pretty expensive once you get into the 6 foot, 10 foot. I try to get all 10-foot cables. That's just me. I don't care what it is. I like a 10-foot cable. That reassures me of lengthwise, no matter where I want to put my devices or my cameras. I have multiple cameras in the house. I got multiple YouTube channels. This is just one. I really like products. I really like technology, and that's what this channel is. I'm tired of watching other reviewers that are just getting a free product and give it yeah, it's good. Go buy it because they got it free for it. Yes, again, like I said, Silkland did provide this to me, but we're fixing to get into some tests on this, and we're going to see how good it is and make sure. The number one thing that I need to make sure is if I'm getting video through my capture card. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to connect a different cable. So this is a regular cable. So if we look right here, we can see that I have it on. We can go up here to my capture device. The QMI is, it registers as 4K 60. So here's my capture card. Then I come down here and I have it at custom because all my videos I do at 4K, which is 3840 by 2160. So it's not, there's no picture here. I'm not seeing that. So if I come in and I hit, go from custom to device, boom, there's my video. Now I have my video here, but the video here is only 1080p. That's all I'm getting out of this is 1080, because as far as the default goes, you have to put in your custom. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect the Silkland cable and see if we can get that 4K out of it now. All right, so now I have it connected, and as we see right here, is pulling it straight up as soon as I plugged it in, and I'm on the default. Now let's go ahead and go to custom, and boom, it goes right over, and it's telling me I have 3840 by 2160, and I'm getting 60 frames, and now I can mess with all this. A minute ago with the other cable, I could not mess with any of this. I can change what type of video format it is now. So I have more leeway to do whatever. And of course, now I have two cameras I can go in between, right? And that's my goal, is just to be able to record whatever I want to at that 4K resolution at between 30 and 60 frames. There's some things I record at 30 frames, some things I record at 60. So the QMI allows me to do that as well. But I can sit here and go in between. Now, on default, it's still 4K, but it is a little bit more vibrant that I like. So that's why I go ahead and I go to custom. So custom allows a little bit different right there for the custom. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna apply that. And now I'm gonna go ahead and switch my camera. Okay, so now I'm on the camera that I just did. So again, I can come into my settings here and go to my properties. And if I go to default is still the same. If all you notice is different is you see my color palette different behind me. So my custom, I have a color filter on where it's not as vibrant as it is with just the QMI right out the box. I think it has just a little too much vibrance, but it still looks good. And I'm able to do all this within using the cable, where with the other cable that I have, it only says 240 watts, USB 2.0. So this is just a regular 2.0 cable. So the cable does matter depending on what you're doing. So if you're trying to go through a capture card or something, then you're going to need either a USB 4 to get your 4K. And again, you're going to be limited on what your frame rate's going through. So if you're going to use it as an external monitor or whatnot, then you're going to be limited to probably that 60 frames per second. But then if you have something like the Silkland right here, you can go all the way up to 144. So the next test I'm going to do is I'm going to do some data transfers real quick, and we're going to see how fast this thing actually really transfers data. And I will be comparing it to something like this right here that everybody's buying off of Amazon. So I have this little bit enclosure that I have a 500 gig SSD in here. So, and it comes with its own little cable. It's just a little cable here. And don't get me wrong, it transfers pretty good, pretty fast. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect this right here, the one that came with it. And we're going to do just a little speed test of a file. And then we're going to hook up the Silkland's cable and test the little file. Again, any of this, if you want just the video features out of this and you like that so far, the video, links in the description below where you can buy this out and to Silkland's website. But again, they are on Amazon, but I will leave an affiliate link down below. But let's go ahead and get that data. Let's see how good this data transfer is with the new Silkland cable. So here it is. I plugged it up. It is G. Again, I'm on this normal cable that came with it. I'm going to go ahead and open up Crystal Disk Mark, and then I'm going to do G. So we're just going to do a quick one right here. I'm just going to do this first one and we're going to see what speeds we get. All right. So let me go ahead and say this also. This is just in a regular USB port. It's not in the Thunderbolt port in the back of my motherboard. So that's pretty crappy right there. 42.77, 43.12 for your read and writes. So let's go ahead and hook up the Silkland cable and let's see if that gets any better. Okay, so again, I'm going to start fresh. Here we are. We're on G, and we're going to go ahead and just hit this first one. And we're just doing this one test right here. Look at that. I mean, just holy crap. Look at that difference between the cable itself. Look at the transfer. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to be doing a real world test again here in a minute, showing data. I'm going to be transferring a video to this hard drive and with the two different cables as well. I just want to do the quick, benchmark test to see what we're getting up the benchmark. All right, so that's what we got right there. So for read, 972.49. For write, 938.89. So cable does matter, folks. So watch what you do when you're buying your cables. All right, so for the actual real world test, not just a benchmark, what I'm going to do is I have a review of the X1S Self-Baton remote. This is 3 gigs, right? Yeah, 3.53 gigs right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to bring it over to my G and I'm going to go ahead and paste it right here. Look at that, 600 over 600 megabytes per second. That was seconds that I just transferred that over to the hard drive using the Silkland cable. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take that other USB cable that I had that's 240 watts that says that it can handle a lot of things and see if it really can compared to the Thunderbolt cable. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and delete this out of that hard drive, and then I'm going to switch to hard drive. All right, so the first thing I did is I went ahead and I deleted the copy of it here. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to recopy this, and now I'm going to go ahead and now I have the 240 watt cable plugged into the external drive. Now look, we're only getting 40 megabytes per second. That's all we're getting right now. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. We're gonna go over to Silkland's website real quick. So here's their website. They are showing $35.99 for this 3-foot cable. If you actually go over to Amazon, you can get it for $27.99. Again, I'll leave a link down below. Superior Thunderbolt 5 technology, 200 up to 240 watts is what they're claiming. 240 watts, which obviously everything that they have claimed so far has been truthful on what they do. So 240 watts, 120 gigabit bandwidth, 80 gigabits bi-directional, meaning both ways, triple 4K monitors, 4K up to 540. So some of these new OLED monitors that are coming out that are 540, 8K 120. They are certified. It is Intel certified. So that is always a plus when you have a certified. That's one thing I didn't do. I also have their display port, display cable 2.1, and I left out that it's certified. And yes, all their cables are certified. Multiple devices you can use these on, as you see right here. The file transfers, as we already seen, and I showed you real world, is like insane. The braiding was really, really nice. Again, it is flexible enough. You can do things with it. Look at that. I mean, where I put it is where it goes. I wouldn't, move your cable too much around. You don't want to break anything. Nice ends. The ends are really, really, I mean, the way they constructed them and put them on, I don't feel like I'm going to pull, or if I pull too hard or it got stuck, that it's going to break off. I do not feel that whatsoever. This is worth your money here in 2025. Once again, I'll leave a link down in the description below. Go ahead and check out this video right here. See if this is worth your hard-earned money here in 2025. I'm Thomas of Tomology. I'll catch you in the next one.